Viewer discretion is advised.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
We got a fun one today.
Do
got
we?
a fun one. Well, mine's kind of fun. There's a lot of murder.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because we have a very special fan pick. Yet another one I'm shocked we haven't already covered.
I know. This is so bizarre.
I know. So our fan picker, Clara Sutherland, has chosen Murder for Hire.
Murder for hire.
Duh.
And has a close connection to the case that she is asking me to cover today.
Cool. Great. Awesome. That's swell.
Yep. God bless you, Clara. Thank you so much for being an Uncorked subscriber.
We better start drinking.
Let's do it.
We better start drinking. This is our first time recording a full episode in over 2 weeks because we just got back from our incredible Trova trip to Greece. Hence my tan.
Yeah. And hence my inability to get my life together. I have been so jet lagged.
Dude, I guess it's a sign of age. I could not recover from this. I could not bounce back.
But it was worth it.
It was so worth it. We had so much fun. If you are not following us on Instagram or seeing notifications of upcoming Trova trips, you might want to fix that. Join our wait lists.
Yeah, we still have some spots left for Mexico City, and that is going to be amazing.
Yeah. Ireland is sold out.
Yep.
But we've got more coming down the pike. So, yeah, keep an eye out for those Trova trips. And, yeah.
Come party with us.
Come party with us. Campari with us.
Campari with us.
Anyway, let's get to the contract killings, shall we? But first, Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing for Murder for Hire?
Yeah, so my fan pick case happened in/near Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I wanted to find a Black-owned liquor brand to shout out. And boy, did I find a good one. Their website is Gorgina.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
These men.
Yes, they are very fabulously dressed. So we are shouting out Greenwood Whiskey. This is an incredible whiskey company. Their branding, their bottles. I mean, I'm not a whiskey connoisseur, so for stuff like this, I go entirely off of like, how does she look? And she looks fucking good. Okay. So I wanted to share the story of Greenwood Whiskey from their website, greenwoodwhiskey.com. That's whiskey with an H, Whiskey. Greenwood Whiskey was born out of a shared passion for exceptional spirits and commitment to preserving a rich heritage. Founded by a group of friends in 2018, the brand draws inspiration from the historic Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, also known as Black Wall Street. This area was a thriving hub of African-American entrepreneurship and culture in the early 20th century. And please, if you are not familiar with the Black Wall Street / Tulsa massacre, please look into that because it is...
Familiarize yourself.
Yes, it is an important and terrible scar on American history and racial divides between white and black communities, white violence. It's not good. And so there's a lot of historical significance to this whiskey company being here and in the spirit of reviving black entrepreneurship in the spirit in that particular area. We sought to honor this legacy by crafting a premium whiskey that embodies the spirit of resilience, excellence, and community. Each bottle is a tribute to the pioneers of Greenwood, blending tradition with modern craftsmanship. The result is a smooth, well-balanced whiskey that stands out for its rich flavor and exceptional quality. Greenwood whiskey is more than just a drink. It's a celebration of history, a testament to perseverance, and a nod to the trailblazers who paved the way. Whether enjoyed neat on the rocks or in your favorite cocktail, Greenwood whiskey promises an experience that is as memorable as the story behind it. Join us in raising a glass to honor the past and toast to the future. They also believe in paying it forward in an effort to give back to the community. We're committed to supporting initiatives that promote economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, and education. I love a business that gives back to the community like that.
Yes. I love that.
So they have a bunch of different whiskeys, but then they also have whiskey cocktails, and they have them beautifully photographed under the cocktail tab on their website with like extensive recipes. So if you are maybe not like neat or just on the rocks whiskey drinker, but you really want to try, you know, a little whiskey cocktail, grab some Greenwood whiskey, and I think this would be delicious.
I've had some really, really nice whiskey cocktails, especially in like whiskey country, like Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it can. I'm not a whiskey neat gal either, but it can be dressed up, sweetened up, fruited up a little bit. So it's a little bit more gentle on the palate.
This one in particular jumped out to me. It's called the Southern Girl. Ooh. And it's 1.5 ounces of Greenwood whiskey, a half ounce of peach liqueur, a quarter ounce of ginger juice, a half ounce of mint tea syrup, and a half ounce of lemon juice, topped with ginger beer and garnished with a mint sprig.
Okay.
Yeah. So they instruct you to build all ingredients except the ginger beer into a shaker tin. You add your ice, you shake it, strain it, and pour into a rocks glass filled with ice. And then you top it with the ginger beer and put the mint sprig on it. Yeah. It sounds incredible. I mean, they have like martinis, rocks cocktails. They have an old fashioned recipe, a Tulsa mule, blackberry rye smash. They have a Greenwood margarita, a whiskey margarita, like sweet and sour. These are like really clever twists on some really amazing classic cocktail recipes that can then incorporate the Greenwood whiskey. And they all look incredible.
They got something for everyone.
Yeah. And you can also go to their Buy Greenwood tab and see if you can locate their merchandise and their products at a store near you. And then I do believe, I'm going to test this, but I do believe they ship to some states. Oh, they have really cute merch too.
Yeah,
really
I saw their
cute
merch.
Really Greenwood apparel. Oh yeah, these are nice. I am a fan. Yeah, it asks for your shipping information. So as long as your state allows you to receive alcohol, you can order this online and get it shipped to you. So check them out at greenwoodwhiskey.com. That's greenwoodwhiskey.com. And, you know, please get a bottle of this and make one of these amazing cocktails. I want that Southern Girl bad.
I want the blackberry one.
It does look the smash. Looks good. I know. Am I going to like become a whiskey cocktail person this summer?
Maybe. You can reinvent.
I can reinvent. I'm always learning, growing, and changing.
Good. As should we all.
Yep. So cheers to Greenwood whiskey and my sparkling water and my vape pen.
I actually have a beverage for myself today. So we went to the cheese bar in Des Moines, got a whole bunch of cheese charcuterie stuff for our anniversary the other day. They had these little, I think the brand is Cap Fizz, sparkling wine. It's from Willamette Valley. It's a sparkling rosé.
So you know it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Well, will be my second one. So I can confirm, not today, but in general.
I love.
Because I had one on our anniversary and then we just had a couple more in the fridge. So I'm going to pop this open. It's a cute little glass bottle with a little beer top.
Cute.
The branding is super cute.
I love a sparkling rosé or like a Lambrusco. Yum.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
Crack.
I always forget how to do this.
Crack.
Okay, here we go.
Crack. Woo!
Kinda. A little crack. I'm not as good at this as you are. What's wrong with me?
Nothing. You're perfect. There we go. This is the right move.
Nope.
I love this. You're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great, sweetie.
I swear this is my first one today.
People are dying, Kim.
I got it.
Oh!
Cheers!
God bless. Well
Holy
done.
Shit. That is not reflective of the quality of my iridescent double.
No, that was
hinged.
human error.
That was
not tool error. That was human error. And we love to see it. We love to see it. God bless. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
All right, let's take a quick break so that Lucy can dress her wounds from that opening.
Get my groove back.
Get her groove back. And then we'll dive into Murder for Hire.
God, this is so good.
I think it can be hard for us to really understand or wrap our heads around how, like, each individual family unit can raise their children to have financial literacy and, like, learn about money and spending and saving. And I certainly had some guidance in that regard, but not like a lot of hands-on practical skill building that I really wish that I had had in my youth.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where Acorns Early comes in. Acorns Early is a smart money app and debit card for kids that helps them learn the value of money.
Yeah, at 1.5, June is too young for this, but it really has me thinking about how I'm going to teach her about spending and the value of $1.
Right.
Acorns Early's chores tracker helps kids learn the value of $1. So you just set up the chores in the app, you say how much each chore is worth, and then you can just like simply tick it off when it's done. Acorns Early lets parents pay allowances automatically, so you don't have to be like, oh, I don't have like a $5 bill in my wallet. Because who has cash anymore?
Looking for quarters.
Exactly. You can just automatically send a weekly allowance to your kids' account with just a couple of taps in the app. Kids can spend what they earn with their very own debit card. They're going to love this new sense of independence, and they get to choose from over 35 customizable card designs. That's honestly the best part.
That's so cute for like Junie's first purse.
Yeah. Little kitty debit card or something.
I can't.
Get her first little wallet. I'm so excited. And they also have simple parental controls to just give you a little bit extra peace of mind. You can get real-time notifications when your kid spends any money. You can set their spending limits, and you can instantly block lost or stolen cards. So you're going to teach them good habits. You're going to teach them financial literacy in a safe and transparent way.
Head to acornsearly.com or download the Acorns Early app to help your kids grow their money skills today. Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. T&Cs apply. Monthly subscription fees starting from $5 per month unless canceled.
It's getting hot out there, people. The Midwest was issued like a blanket heat advisory today.
Mm-hmm.
And when I can't find anything comfortable to wear when it's this hot, I feel that familiar urge to refresh my entire closet. But that can be expensive. And I also tend to waste money on things I'll only wear once or just for one season. So I got to be careful. And Quince helps me be more careful. Their clothes are timeless, they're lightweight, and they're far more elevated than anything else at these price points. It feels like my wardrobe matches my standards, my very high adult mature standards.
Yes. I mean, Quince will definitely heighten your maturity and your adult standards. I also have to mention, like, it's wedding season, y'all. And I recently added the organic cotton poplin smocked midi dress to
I've
my
had my eye on that
wardrobe.
one. I was looking at it yesterday.
It's so cute. I got it in that like coral color, obviously, because you know I love a bright statement color. But Quince really has anything that you could possibly want, and they do have a beautiful like color selection as well. So if you're not looking for the super bright colors, you can also get the slightly more demure classics,
like a light chambray.
Exactly. But they have so many different options of things to choose from, like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30. They have luxe swimwear. They have Italian leather platform sandals. They have beautiful jewelry. I live in my gold-plated Quince paperclip necklace. I literally never take it off. I'm obsessed with it. It goes with absolutely everything, and I get compliments on it constantly. And the best part is that everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. So by working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. I mean, these items hold up so well. They travel well, they wash well, and they're not going out of style anytime soon.
So give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/wine for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/wine to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/wine.
Y'all know I'm an ADHD girly, and I have the object permanence of a newborn baby. So especially when it comes to my spending, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. It's not great. That daily matcha habit, the streaming subscriptions that I wanted for that one show that I needed to binge, so I got the free trial and then I never got rid of it. When I had like 15 different magazine subscriptions when I moved and then I just totally left them still going and I never used them. Y'all, I'm telling you, it's been a wild time. All this stuff adds up so fast without, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but certainly me, even really noticing until it's like, oh God, what have I done? But Rocket Money has been the adult in my pocket ever since I started. Rocket Money helps you spot those patterns so that you can do something about them and you can keep more money in your pocket.
Or like the subscriptions that you totally forget about that only stop when your credit card expires.
Oh, how many times?
And then you get the email and you're like, oh God.
Oh, I'm never going to update this card because I don't want this anymore.
I know. So Rocket Money has been a literal godsend. Obvious. Clearly, we are not good at handling this on our own.
We need her.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Their dashboard is so easy to navigate. You can see all of your subscriptions in one place, and you can know exactly where your money is going. They've got a budget feature with custom categories to just help you keep your spending on track. If you see you're spending a little too much on the food delivery, maybe spend a little more at the grocery store. You know what I mean? Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save, and then you can ask them to negotiate for you. I've noticed this is especially helpful with like insurance fluctuations.
Yeah, bills increase and they like don't tell you, but Rocket Money tells you. It's amazing.
They will deal with customer service on your behalf so you don't have to. You'll also get an email if there's unusual spending activity or if you did set up that budget feature if you're like close to going over it. Truly the adult in the room. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features.
That's a weekend away, babe. Like, What are we doing? Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app and enter our show name, Wine and Crime, in the survey so they'll know we sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and tell them you heard about them from our show. All right, Lucy, what do you have in store for us today and for our beloved fan picker for Murder for Hire?
Well, there was quite a lot. So we're always talking about hitmen today. And of course,
hit
a hitman hit ladies.
Hit folks.
Hit folks. Punch Nazis, hit folks.
Yep.
A hitman, a hit person, is someone who is paid to kill someone. They're a hired assassin. A fixer, if you will. Either party could be an individual, a group, or an organization. Contract killing has been associated with organized crime, government conspiracies, dictatorships, and vendettas, feuds. The main advantage of a contract killing is not having to kill someone yourself, thereby making it more difficult for authorities to connect you to the murder. Also, if you just have qualms about... Well, yeah, in theory. But There is a lack of forensic evidence when you're dealing with a professional hit person, for one thing, and also if it's not you at the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easier now because we have so much like a digital paper trail.
Yeah. We're leaving evidence in ways that were unfathomable even 15 years ago.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably harder to get away with it now, but certainly not impossible. Contract killers may exhibit serial killer traits such as killing in a serial manner, but are generally not classified as such because of third-party killing objectives and detached financial and emotional incentives.
Yeah, there's like not the same direct motive. It's primarily financially motivated crime.
Mm-hmm. What's that? Oh, the movie The Professional with Leon, the hitman, and then I think it's
Tiny Natalie Portman.
God, that's a good fucking movie. There was a time when that movie was on like every other day on like TNT.
Yeah.
So for obvious reasons, it's hard to pin down a lot of solid data on contract killings, but here is a little bit that I dug up from a little-known website called Wikipedia.
Okay.
Contract
dark
killings.
web.
The dark web. Is not the first search result on Google.
Wikipedia is the dark web.
Wikipedia. Contract killings generally make up a small percentage of overall murders. For example, they accounted for about 6% of all murders in Scotland between 1993 and 2002.
Wow, that's a lot.
6%.
And Scotland is not like a massive population, so that's like a pretty profound statistic.
Yeah.
All right, Scotland.
It was kind of impressive.
Yeah.
A study by the Australian Institute of Criminology of 162 contract murders and attempted contract murders that happened in Australia between 1989 and 2002 indicated that the most common reason for murder for hire like plots was insurance policy payouts.
Totally. Totally.
The study also found that payments varied from about $5,000, cheap, to $30,000, still kind of cheap, per killing. So the average was about $15,000. Would you kill someone for $15,000?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
I genuinely don't think that I could kill someone for money. I think I could kill someone in an emotionally motivated, like personal.
Like if they killed Beans in front of you.
Sure. I'm not saying that I could never be compelled to kill someone because I'm certain I'm human. I absolutely could.
I think anyone could be.
But I just don't see myself, having the executive function to carry out such a task through somebody else because it's a lot of details if you want to get away with it. And B, the attention span to manage all of those details, let alone the executive function. I'm gonna get distracted.
So it's your ADHD is your main.
My main one. And I'm broke. To accept the money, I guess. I don't think I'm broke, but I don't think I have too solid a community and a network to ever be in a position where I would I would have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mean this in any way to offend you, but I don't think you'd get away with it.
There's no way. I would no, that's not offensive at all. That's just the truth. I would never get away with it. Ever.
Well, first of all, you shed blue ass hairs everywhere you go.
Everywhere. Everywhere. And a white countertop hates to see me coming. Hates.
My downstairs bathroom.
Yeah.
Every time you guys visit, I'm like, all right, I'll just give a little quick wipe down.
Gotta get the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser out. That's...
God forbid it's wet blue hair.
Oh, girl. The caulking around my tub, ruined.
You could put it on Grover.
I could. I could frame Grover.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know how much it would take for me to kill Okay, but here's what you could do, which is one of the cases that I read about in my research. This guy, it was a website. It wasn't Rent a Hitman, but it was like...
It was that bad.
It was like hire...
that stupid.
Well, Rent a Hitman is like a satirical website, and it's like owned by a guy, but I don't think he like uses it. It was meant to be a joke, but it's something like that where some moron went and contacted someone who was just bored on that messaging board.
Mm-hmm. Bored on the board.
He said, yeah, sure, I'll kill your ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend for $15,000.
Okay.
And then dude goes to the ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend and is like, hey, someone has a hit out on you. If you can outpay them, I won't kill you. So he was like pinning them against each other.
Capitalism, babe.
Yeah.
And I just feel like people who do get hired for such jobs,
wet work, as we call it.
Wet work, fall in some specific but varying categories.
Yeah.
Like, you know, obviously we see the Hollywood ex-military, you know, foreign adversary, assassin, like high level.
That's just the exciting ones. That's not most of them.
Yeah, but then you've got like, you know, morally, I mean, I think you have to be pretty morally depraved to do the first thing that I listed, but then just morally depraved, like douche guys online that are like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And then like truly desperate people living in truly desperate circumstances.
And 15 grand is life-changing to some people.
And, you know, you have to be in a pretty bad place to be willing to do something like that. And like, not to say that that forgives the act, but I feel like it's always important for us to understand the why and the how people reach the capacity to be able to do a job like that. It doesn't just happen overnight. And it's not like created in a vacuum.
No, it's definitely not created in a vacuum. But some other stats. Okay, so as compared to the 6% in Scotland, in the same similar time period, contract killings accounted for 2% of murders in Australia. So it does vary. Also, Australians are just kind of more chill in general. So
maybe. Or maybe they're just more willing to do it themselves.
I was just going to say, I feel like the average Australian has fewer qualms about homicide. I don't know. They seem a bit more rugged.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Also, the bush, ever heard of it?
It's crazy out there.
Never get caught. I mean, yeah, it's
dingo
crazy. It's totally
did
crazy out there. But like a dingo did do it.
Yeah.
According to the FBI, lots of murder for hire plots stem from either organized crime or inmates in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Who want to kill like witnesses or
people
judges.
On the outside. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a big thing in like what we had like a lot of mob activity around Prohibition and stuff.
We'll get to it, baby. We'll fucking get to it. Okay, so like I said, there is a lot of slang and code words related to contract killing because you have to be a little bit sneaky about it. Because if you think someone's a hitman, but they're not, that can be a little bit of a slippery slope. So like I said, the industry is called wet work, which comes from the Russian phrase mokroye delo, which stems from at least the 19th century when it referred to like violent robberies that involved the spilling of blood. The phrase, so if you were to approach someone to see if they were a hitman who could help you out, you could say, I heard you paint houses.
Oh, okay.
And so this comes
wet
from
work.
This comes from an alleged conversation with Jimmy Hoffa, which means I heard you kill people, the paint being the blood from a gunshot wound. Isn't that gross?
It's really gross, and I hate it.
Paint houses. So I feel like this is sort of related, not directly, but interesting nonetheless. Have you ever heard of an assassination market?
No.
So it's a website. You can find it on like the dark web, maybe the regular web. I don't know. It's a prediction market where you can place bets on the date of specific individuals' assassinations.
Okay.
This is also known as a dead pool.
Ooh.
So you go on there and you find an individual. There's also a tab where you can refer an individual that other people can bet on.
And this is just on the internet?
Yeah. So I'm sure the current president is on there.
Oh, I bet.
So people go in and they bet a certain amount of money that said assassination will happen on that specific day. And if they win the whole pool.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We are depraved as a people.
I know.
But
Technologies like Tor and Bitcoin have made these markets a reality. There's more than one.
Yeah.
The first assassination market was built by a self-described crypto anarchist in 2013.
Ugh. Imagine being a self-described crypto anarchist.
Yeah.
It's like the SoundCloud DJs of the crypto universe.
Self-described. So Obama has a page, or at least had a page.
Of course.
In 2015. Probably still does. I don't know. He's a prominent black man. Of course, he has a page for the assassination market.
Right.
As does Ben Bernanke, who is a famous economist and the former chair of the Fed, the Federal Reserve.
Oh, okay.
So, especially from the point of view of a crypto anarchist, he's a bad dude, you know?
Sure.
The chair of the Fed.
Yeah,
I don't know.
sure.
I can see why people would.
Yeah, I bet
be
there are
opposed
a
to him.
lot of polarizing figures on that list, from people just hating a prominent black figure in American history to people truly wanting blood for severe systemic
war
harm
crimes,
caused. Yeah,
for
war
example.
crimes, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that site having a lot of different folks on it for a lot of different reasons.
Well, I didn't want to further tarnish my search history by actually attempting to find said website.
No, you made the right call.
So I did find a screenshot of Ben Bernanke's page. So I'll
Okay.
just describe to you what it looks like.
His Murderpedia page.
Basically, he's still alive today.
I know.
Okay, so the entry lists his birthday. He was born in like 1953. I think he's a Sagittarius. But also like he's fucking old.
Yeah.
I also think the rules are you have to be assassinated, not just die,
Okay. To win the pot.
to win the pot.
That
Yeah,
makes sense. That's the whole point of the website.
kind of the whole point.
Yeah.
It also lists his address, his current status, which is alive, and his
address?
yeah.
I don't like this.
They also have his quote balance. I'm not totally sure what the balance is as opposed to the whole pot that they would win, because it also said if someone correctly predicts the date of his assassination at the time of this entry, they would win about $110,000.
Damn.
Yeah, they have the address, and then there was something about like, because you're not betting on whether or not these people would be assassinated, you're betting on the date they would be assassinated. That kind of further shields you from any potential criminal culpability.
And this is just on the regular internet. This isn't like a dark web website.
I don't know. I didn't try to look for it.
Okay, fair.
I'm sure if one were to Google assassination market, do it. Turn off your what is it? Bio features on your phone.
I did that before we
Bio
flew out of the country.
verification.
Assassination.
Yours didn't work anyway because you have such a rubber face.
That's so accurate. The only thing that pops up for it are articles about it. And like you, I'm not going to go deeper.
That it's probably on the dark web. Well, isn't Tor the dark web? A way to access the dark web?
I think it is.
Yeah. So everything's encrypted. Like it's all supposed to be. It's as anonymous as a self-described crypto anarchist could have made it.
What even fucking is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's also a TV show that is on Investigation Discovery called Nothing Personal. Isn't that creepy?
We have gone too fucking far with
It
the true
outlines-
crime, the quippy true crime shit. That is
Nothing
diabolical.
personal.
Nothing
I know.
personal.
I got chills when I read that.
I hate it.
There's 2 seasons. It outlines different contract killing cases. So they have featured episodes about killings with a variety of motives, including business disputes, fraud, greed, love, and vengeance. Nothing personal.
Ugh.
Fucking ick.
Ugh.
Okay, so I have a little bit of history for us. Hitmen have always been around.
Sure.
Always.
Murder's always been around.
And being a hit person is not a far cry from being a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Julius Caesar was assassinated by hitmen, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Archduke Franz Ferdinand, assassin, started World War II, subsequently started World War I, subsequently World War II.
There's a moth in here. A tiny little moth.
Okay, it was really close to your camera. It looked like a bird.
I ain't dealing with that. I ain't dealing with that.
Send Bill down with the vacuum.
No. It'll die eventually.
That's what I always say.
That's what I always say. Track the website. The pot.
Let's put bets on the date of that moth's death.
Yeah, where'd she go? If I assassinate this moth today, you get $5.
Don't I can't be held responsible for the killing of a moth. Put it outside.
Fair. Whatever.
Okay.
This moth is part of the podcast now for this day, so we're just gonna accept it.
The moth is the third gal.
Yeah.
So in the United States, there was a swell of murders for hire in the 1930s with the rise of Murder, Inc. And that's what I'm going to be telling you about today.
Okay.
I think that's also a record label.
It totally is.
This is not that.
That I feel like Ja Rule has some tracks that shout out Murder, Inc.
Oh my God. Murder, Inc. Records. Yeah. Abbreviated to The Inc. Records. Irv Gotti and his brother Chris, Ashanti, and Ja Rule.
Yep. I was going to say, I knew it.
Nice. Okay. You'd think I would have Googled that sooner, and I didn't, and that's fine. So Murder, Inc. was an arm of the National Crime Syndicate. Capitalized. It was a real thing. Which was founded in, of course, Atlantic City in 1929 by leading underworld figures of the time, including Al Capone, Lucky Luciano, and Louis Lepke Buchalter. I don't know how to say his last name, but I will be referring to this man from here on out as Lepke.
Okay.
So the National Crime Syndicate started as a way for all of these different mob and gangster groups to come together to strategize and coordinate bootlegging, because that was very profitable for all of these people. They were just like, enough of the infighting. We are not each other's enemies. The law is our collective enemy. So let's just kind of create this syndicate. So that's what happened. It started in 1929. Some sources said like 1934. So I think it took a few years to really get off the ground. The syndicate mostly consisted of and was led by the closely interconnected Italian-American mafia and the Jewish mob.
Okay.
Those were the two main group, but it also had at least 14 different organizations. So it also involved, to a lesser extent, other ethnic criminal organizations such as the Irish mob and different African-American crime groups.
Okay.
But they were all just like,
working together.
Team up.
Yeah.
We can all make more money
if
we're working together here.
Everybody wants booze. Let's work together to get it to them.
Mm-hmm. So the media dubbed their enforcement arm, meaning like the violent arm. Mm-hmm. The media dubbed it Murder Inc. And Murder Inc. carried out hundreds, if not thousands, of murders in the 1930s and 40s.
Dang.
So, like I said, members of Murder Inc. were primarily Italian and Jewish gangsters from the gangs of the Lower East Side and the Brooklyn neighborhoods of Brownsville, East New York, and Ocean Hill. Mm-hmm. They committed crimes in New York City, acting as enforcers for Lepke, and they accepted murder contracts from mob bosses all around the United States.
Dang. Yeah,
so being sent out everywhere to kill people for money, like the Enterprise. It was nationwide.
Yeah, and it's like these murders likely would have been carried out anyway by these mob factions with their own, their own hired hands or their own quote unquote strong arms. But then there was this opportunity to outsource it to this like professionally developed conglomerate, basically.
And it kind of like industrialized contract killings.
Yeah.
It was...
How odd.
It's the Henry Ford of murder.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah. So Murder Inc. was based in Rosie Gold's candy store. A 24-hour candy store.
Listen.
I could think of worse things.
I could absolutely think of worse. A 24-hour candy store for my high ass? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Also,
we need one.
During Prohibition, when you can't go to a bar, I'm going to go to a candy store at 1 a.m, get loaded.
Fuck yeah. Get loaded. Werther's Originals just passed out with them stuck to my face.
Just wrappers.
I love a Werther's.
Sticky wrappers everywhere. Oh my God. Speaking of treats, I went to Trader Joe's for the first time in my life.
You've never been to Trader Joe's?
I have now.
Yeah, buckle up. That frozen section is off the chain.
Samosas?
Yeah, babe.
That's my dinner tonight. Those chicken samosas are so fucking good. I also got this dark chocolate pretzel sea salt bark. I got a whole bowl of it with potato chips right here, just waiting for your section so I can munch. I got hand soap.
Bitch, I might make a TJ's run after this.
My freezer is overflowing.
My freezer is full of cat food. Thank you, Smalls.
Thank you, Smalls. This episode brought to you by Smalls, but actually...
It might be.
We should probably reach out to Trader Joe's because it was really great. I really liked it. Okay, back to this candy store. It's located in Brooklyn. The group Murder Inc. had a number of members, although Harry Strauss was the most prolific killer in terms of the Assassins Guild. He committed over 100 murders, and some historians put the number as high as 500.
Dang.
But he was just one man. He had roughly 250 assassins, Lepke did.
Working under him.
Yep. Reporting to him, receiving contracts from him. Getting
wild.
orders. The killers were paid a regular salary as retainer, as well as an average fee of between $1,000 and $5,000 per killing. Their families also received financial benefits because, of course, they themselves could be arrested or killed at any time. I have to read to you more about Rosie Gold's candy store.
I feel like
my favorite part about this.
I feel like I've been there, not inside, but I feel like I've gone by there in Brooklyn.
So it is not.
I'm gonna be in Brooklyn this weekend, so
it's no longer a candy store. It's a 24-hour like bodega.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Well, there's pictures of it on the drive. You can look at it. It just looks super regular. It looks like any fucking street in Brooklyn.
I want one of their egg sandwiches.
Okay, so this is from Atlas Obscura. On the corner of Saratoga and Livonia Avenues in Brownsville, Brooklyn, there used to be a 24-hour candy store. During the 1930s and 40s, the Midnight Rose Candy Store, located under the elevated portion of the the number 3 subway line. So it's right under a subway like
it's
bridge.
A genius
like you can
location.
just see it. You can just see it functioning.
I love it.
So it was run by a little old lady in her 60s, Mrs. Rosie Gold.
Oh my God.
It's hard to imagine a more innocuous and unoffending picture, but all was not as it seemed at the Midnight Rose.
Oh, I love Atlas Obscura. They bring the drama.
They really do. For this was the secret headquarters of one of the most infamous and deadly groups in the history of organized crime.
That's the way to do it.
Inc.
Hide it behind a little old lady's candy store.
Candy store. This also isn't the only candy store that was involved
There's
in
a
Murder
syndicate,
Inc.
a candy store syndicate.
Like, part of its downfall had something to do with, like, someone's personal vendetta against a candy store, a different candy store owner. And, like, they took him out, and then someone got mad because, like, he wasn't the right guy. Like, it was based on a misunderstanding. I don't even know.
Oh, my God.
Candy stores were an underpinning theme in
A hotbed of criminal activity.
about Murder, Inc. Rosie Gold, Mrs. Rosie Gold, kept a wall of payphones along the back wall of the candy store. The members of Murder, Inc. would pass the time at the Midnight Rose, sipping on Rosie's malted milks until one of the phones rang, giving the details of the hit.
This sounds like a movie.
I know.
This
Well, it
doesn't-
is. Lots of movies.
Well, right, but like it doesn't sound real. It
No,
sounds
it
like a
doesn't.
movie script.
It sounds ridiculous. Strangers were often
We're
dispatched.
shipping malts and waiting to get a murder contract on the
They were-
payphone.
They were drinking milkshakes with little old lady, and then when the phone rang, they'd be like,
Gotta
"Get
go.
Bugsy at Lou's Cafe," whatever.
Holy shit.
Strangers were often dispatched at the whim of the National Crime Syndicate with the preferred weapon of choice, the ice pick.
Oh, ew. Oh, I don't
They were
like
also
that.
sending a message. I mean, a lot of these were like mob hits, mafia
100%.
hits, so they were sending messages.
It was intentionally gruesome in that way. Ugh.
Yeah. The assassins eventually met their downfall in 1940 when Kid Twist, Reels, was caught by a police informant. So Kid Twist was one of the heads of the, I think, the Sicilian mafia.
Okay.
But he was like he was very high up in the whole syndicate.
Wow.
After Kid Twist ratted on his colleagues, the majority of members of Murder, Inc. would go on to meet their own grisly ends in the electric chair at Sing Sing. On November 12th, 1941, whilst staying at the Half Moon Hotel in Coney Island under 24-hour police supervision, Kid Twist was found dead after falling 7 stories from his room.
Oops.
The case
pushed.
was never solved, but it seems likely that he paid the price for turning informant.
Yeah.
As one member of the National Crime Syndicate is supposed to have said of Kid Twist, quote, "The canary could sing, but he couldn't fly."
Holy shit. Oh my God.
I'm serious.
Oh, that's a quote?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dark.
An alleged quote, but fucking
Ew.
bad nonetheless.
Oh, that. Oh, I don't like that. I'm tearing up.
I know.
Oh, that was creep. The canary could sing, but couldn't fly.
But he couldn't fly.
Okay, he was for sure pushed. The mob.
Of course.
Mobs do not appreciate a rat.
While under 24-hour surveillance, because he was an informant, they did
Yeah.
everything they could.
Yeah.
Oh my
Could
God.
sing, but couldn't fly.
Dude.
I don't know why that's hitting
I'm
me
not
so-
laughing about murders, but
No, but that quote is the drama. That's like the darkest, most dramatic shit I've heard in a minute.
Yup.
Thank you
So
for that.
Check my sources for that Atlas Obscura
Yes.
article, but yeah, it's on the corner of Saratoga and Livonia Avenues in Brownsville.
Okay. Okay.
Take a little trip, take a little jaunt.
Maybe.
The
Maybe
phones
if I
are no
have a
longer
few
there.
hours to hop on the subway, I can go see the sights.
See the sights. In like
Leave a canary's wing.
deep Brooklyn, there's no other reason for you to be there.
Yeah, they would know immediately. I'm out there with my phone. Like,
Apparently, when the
Another
Atlas
white
Obscura...
girl, blue-haired true crime podcaster strolling through my neighborhood to snap pics.
Not even. In this article, they said they went there to like take pictures and talk to the owner, and the owner had no idea the history of that building.
God bless.
He was like,
I don't know. I just
what?
fucking work here. I don't know. It was a cheap property, so I bought it.
Hundreds of murders were conducted out of this very small
It's New
storefront.
York. It's New York.
I know.
Every building's got a history.
The fact that it's under that creepy train track, though, too.
Obsessed.
Like, ugh. Okay. So, specifically about this Lepke guy, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about him because he definitely ran shit in Murder, Inc., which, again, was just the enforcement arm of the National Crime Syndicate. The violent arm. So it was led in part / mostly by Louis Lepke Buchalter. Don't know how to say that. Okay, here's from History.com, another of my favorite sources. Lepke began his criminal career robbing push carts as a teenager. His first arrest was when he was like 18-ish.
What's a push cart?
Like a little food cart.
Okay. I was picturing those like old timey flat pallets on trains where they have the little like crank to like mush themselves.
Like the seesaw things?
Yeah.
No.
What
no.
a value could possibly be on that?
What is he robbing?
A push
Gold
cart.
nuggets?
Gold nuggets, maybe. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Ray. No, so this was in about 1915-ish.
Okay.
So I think
2
they
years
were...
before Helen was born.
Helen would know. Too bad we can't tap her as a source anymore.
I know.
Get the Ouija board.
Done.
What is a push cart?
Did you ever visit the candy store?
But yeah, I think it's like a little food truck. Little food cart.
Yeah.
Or like, selling newspapers or whatever.
Goods, wares.
Okay, this is incredible. This is where he met Jacob Shapiro, whose nickname was Gura. Jacob Gura Shapiro, while trying to rob the same push cart.
They were both trying to rob the same push cart. They had a meet cute at the push cart.
They did. It reminded me of the Spider-Man meme. Hey.
Are you trying to rob this push cart? Me too, girl.
Run away. What
Let's
a coinky
do business
dink.
together.
Well, the two quickly became a formidable team. with Shapiro's brute strength, the two established an extortion business.
Jesus.
Forcing pushcart owners to pay for protection.
Okay, this is the kind of story that's why boomers are like, if you want a job, just walk in somewhere and give them your resume. It's like, it's not like meeting at the push cart anymore, okay, people? It's not how it works. Grow
That is how I
up.
got my first job, because I got my first job from a boomer who respected my can-do attitude.
Yeah, and that
while
was
my
in,
mom
like-
waited in the parking
I was
lot
going to say,
because I
that
didn't
was
have a
in like
driver's license.
2003, so different time.
Yeah,
Yep.
at most. I think
Well,
2001.
My mom waited in the parking lot because I
I
couldn't
didn't have a
drive.
driver's license. I was freshly 15.
Holy shit.
Shout out to the Pro X at
Oh,
West
that's
Winds.
right. You worked
At
there
West
for a
Winds in
while.
Minnetonka. Like 2 years.
Yeah. Which
And then
was
I wrote
an
my manager-
eternity in high school.
Oh my God. I wrote my manager this huge manifesto about why I cannot work there anymore because I hate all of our customers.
Oh,
It
good
was
for
like
you.
a 3-page handwritten thing.
Retail was
And I
never
put it
gonna
in
be
an
your thing.
envelope in his office. And I was like,
I quit.
there's something for you to read. I didn't even say that. He like he skimmed it and was like, so you're putting in your 2 weeks? And I was like,
That's all?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought I had to like submit a resignation letter.
No.
I didn't know.
Also,
I
stop
hope he
giving
kept it.
businesses that don't give a fuck about you 2 weeks notice. If they could fire you without 2 weeks notice, then just fucking quit. Just
I
quit.
liked that job. It was
But
kind of
that's
fun.
fine. If you actually like appreciate or like your boss, then okay, go ahead. But just don't tie yourself in knots over giving 2 weeks notice to a business that is just going to replace you in fucking 24 hours.
I think I worked with Blabby Bloyle's sister.
Oh, maybe.
Legit.
Mm-hmm.
I think I worked with her. I worked with
love
someone's
it.
older sister.
Probably.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, so back to the extortion business of the pushcarts. Lepke and Shapiro then joined Jacob Little Augie Organ's Lower East Side gang.
His biblical last name, his given last name is Organs.
It's Orgen. Maybe it's
Still.
Origin. Organ. Little Augie.
Little Augie Organ.
Little Augie Organ. Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Ugh.
So they joined the Lower East Side gang and turned their attention to bigger game.
Mm-hmm.
One by one, Lepke and the gang terrorized the local garment workers unions because they're in the garment district.
Mm-hmm.
That will come back when you hear what eventually took him down.
Oh, God.
So stupid.
A giant belt.
Possibly
I don't know.
a giant pelt. We'll get to it.
I'm too jet lagged to be funny. He was killed by a giant belt in the garment district. I'm a comedian.
He was killed by the electric chair. We'll get to it.
Oops.
So they took over control of the unions and forced kickback payments from both the members and the employers. So they were working both sides here.
Yep.
Soon they had taken over the entire New York garment industry, the whole fucking thing.
Damn.
In the 1920s, they added liquor bootlegging and gambling and later began importing heroin and other narcotics. So it escalated fairly quickly in the roaring 20s.
Yeah.
So like I said, Lepke had assembled by then a large team of hired killers to enforce his control. At one time, this team may have included as many as 250 hit folk.
Yeah, they were stacked with employees.
Yes. They had this arm of the syndicate was
Powerful.
heavy,
Yeah.
muscular. Lepke really got going once he started arranging contract killings for the Sicilian mob, the Cosa Nostra.
We've definitely covered cases about the Cosa Nostra.
Yes, they were very, very big, particularly during
Prohibition.
So then they get together with these other crime groups and form Murder, Inc. in Atlantic City. Lepke, at this point, has a ton of power because, again, he controls the hitmen.
Right.
So he kind of says who lives and who dies. So, for example, in 1935, his name is Dutch Schultz. Dutch Schultz. He was a very high up in one of the mob groups. He wanted to kill New York District Attorney Thomas Dewey, but Dewey was very popular, and Lepke feared that an assassination of someone at that level would bring even more intense scrutiny and pressure from law enforcement, who definitely knew about what was going on, but police, like half of them were paid off by Lepke anyway.
So many cops were on the mob payroll.
It was very
just to look the other way, if not to have more of a direct hand in operations.
Yeah. So basically, he was afraid of the press that it would get, and that the cops would be backed into a position where they couldn't defend him anymore.
Yep. He wants to preserve his safety net.
So rather than taking Dutch Schultz's orders to kill this attorney, instead he had Schultz killed. He was actually shot with two of his associates at the Palace Chop House in Newark, New Jersey.
Oh my God.
Lepke wanted to use his hitmen to generate as much money as possible, so they were authorized to kill anyone who was approved by the syndicate for any kind of profit.
Damn.
So it wasn't just mob related. It wasn't just any
they
kind
were
of
just hired hitmen for anybody who would pay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Across the country.
Wow.
He was reportedly personally making over $1 million a year at the time, which is around $23 million today.
Which
a
means
year.
way more money than that was coming in because he's also paying all of his men.
So much
and
money.
paying like cops and paying all kinds of money just to keep this operation going. So for him to be making that much a year, that was a lot of fucking money going through that syndicate.
Ton of money.
That's crazy.
He also owned like a really posh, popular nightclub in Manhattan called the Rio Bamba.
Okay. I kind of love it.
I know. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. I just like that tidbit. It would be fun to go there.
You love a fun fact.
I love a fun fact. So with Lemke's hit squad, Lemke? I keep saying it's Lepke. I know someone named Lemke. That's why that keeps slipping out.
Uh-oh.
With his hit squad protecting him from rivals and paid-off judges and officers keeping him out of jail, Lepke was America's premier criminal until he was betrayed by his own man.
Yeah, I mean, when you get that big, everybody wants to take your position.
And because, like, you know, of course people in the FBI, like, knew about him. Is that moth again?
The moth. It's the moth.
They knew about him. They were just gathering evidence. They were trying to find a reason to arrest him.
Mm-hmm.
So his downfall was, oddly enough, violating antitrust laws in the rabbit fur industry.
It's always something fucking silly.
Yeah. So in the New York garment district, he was, I guess, like importing too much, or he had like control of too many avenues of distribution for rabbit fur. That's how they got him.
Incredible.
And then they had enough informants that they could threaten to testify against him and blah, blah, blah. Of course, he gets out on bail. He ran. There was a 2-year manhunt.
Damn.
The FBI was following leads that he was in like Palestine and like Ireland, or like he was in all these places around the world. Turns out he had been in New York City the whole time.
I wonder if he planted or had networks of people around the world who would plant false sightings to protect him.
Probably. This man had so much money. He had so many connections.
Yeah. Clever.
His whole thing was networking.
Mm-hmm.
Because he himself was kind of a shy dude. There's a picture of him. He looks like a fun time.
I'm telling you right now, Wine Coven, if I am ever on the run, y'all better be planting false sightings of me.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all better be out here saying, yeah, I just saw her in Nova Scotia.
Absolutely.
Saskatchewan, represent. Saskatchewan Coven.
Early in his career, he really made a point to like stay out of the spotlight. Like he was not a showy figure at all.
Yeah, he looks like an accountant.
He also married, I don't know if she was a widow or just a divorcee, but then like adopted her child from her previous marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Like on paper, he seemed like a fairly normal, quiet man, but also conducting like the most ridiculously complex and profitable scheme in the country's history. So he eventually turned himself in to J. Edgar Hoover in Manhattan in front of his hotel. His trial was a mess. There's a lot of information about it. All I can tell you is that there were like judges abstaining because they didn't want to be responsible for putting him in prison. There were his friends were testifying against him, blah, blah, blah. It was just really messy. But he was eventually sentenced to death row at Sing Sing. Reportedly, he was able to order like last minute hits on the people who betrayed him from jail. From death row.
Holy shit.
And on March 4th, 1944, he was strapped into old Sparky.
With a giant belt.
There we go. We got the pelts. We got the belts. Either way, dude's dead.
Yep. Fuck.
He got electrocuted. And yeah.
Damn.
Hope his wife is doing great.
Oh, I think she's probably dead by now. This was a while ago.
I know.
Yeah.
I hope she did great.
Sure.
Whatever. That's okay. That's my background.
That was
for Murder for Hire. There was a lot. There was a lot. The
canary being able to sing but not fly will be in my brain forever. Chills.
Canary could sing, but he couldn't fly. 7 stories to the boardwalk below.
No.
There were probably if it was on Coney Island, I would imagine there were people. Yeah.
Yeah, unless it was like the middle of the night and then maybe there weren't that many people out. But if it was during the day.
Let me have this.
No, you're right. There were people there. People saw this.
Well, you know who was there?
Somebody needs a coney dog.
His police presence, his 24-hour surveillance team. Get real.
Makes you wonder if they let somebody in to finish the job.
Oh, yeah.
Just like go home to their families.
The not crooked cops wanted him to testify because he was the canary.
Sure. Damn.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, that was amazing. Well done.
Thanks.
Let's take a quick ads and mental health break before we get into my case for today.
I think that's a great idea.
Let's do it.
Okay. You know I love the gross facts. I love them. Here's another one. Traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. You're sleeping on some really gross stuff that can lead to acne, allergies, stuffy noses, and it's just gross. It doesn't smell great. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth and require up to 3 times less laundry, which might be the best part.
Yeah, who doesn't love less laundry? And how they do this is like women in STEM, let me tell you. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. So you're not going to have that like musty boys dormitory odor in your bed. I can't. So yeah, that silver though doesn't just stop with the antibacterial property. It also helps with temperature regulation. So these silver infused fabrics that were inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather or how your perimenopause symptoms might be presenting themselves that night. So you get better sleep at night. They're also designed for your skin. You gotta stop sleeping on bacteria. You're gonna get clogged pores. It can cause breakouts, acne, all like back, butt, legs. It can happen. You wanna sleep clean with Miracle. And Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. And frankly, they do feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. I love when these sheets come up in my laundry rotation.
So do I.
They're the best.
Upgrade your sleep as the weather heats up. Go to trymiracle.com/gals to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code GALS at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/gals and use the code GALS to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/gals to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
If you, like us, are running a business, you know that every time you miss a call, you're potentially leaving money on the table. And when every customer conversation matters, you need a phone system that keeps up and helps you stay connected 24/7. And that is why you need OpenPhone.
Yeah, OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. So it works through an app on your phone or computer. So no more carrying around 2 cell phones or using a landline. I know that this might sound inconsequential depending on the small business you're running, but let me tell you, especially in restaurants, this is a game changer. With OpenPhone, your team can share one number and collaborate on customer calls and texts, sort of like a shared inbox. That way, any teammate can pick up right where the last person left off, keeping response times faster than ever. This is genius.
And sharing that load is like such a godsend too.
So great. Plus, say goodbye to voicemail. It's 2025. Their AI agent can be set up in minutes to handle calls after hours, answer questions, and capture leads so you never miss a customer. So whether you're a one-person operation drowning in calls and texts, or if you have a large team that needs better collaboration tools, OpenPhone is a no-brainer. See why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone.
OpenPhone is offering our listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/gals. That's openphone.com/gals. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Does your freezer look like a crime scene of forgotten leftovers, really fancy cat food, things that like I don't really eat? Maybe a stray ice cream bar that God only knows where that's from? Well, yeah, mine did.
The freezer becomes a graveyard very quickly.
It really can, until you find Butcher Box, because Butcher Box delivers top quality, responsibly sourced proteins right to your door. You're not getting any mystery meat. You're not getting sketchy sourcing. It's just better options at your fingertips. You're going to want to actually be using your freezer the way that it was intended.
The way that nature intended.
Yeah.
Butcher Box delivers better meat and seafood straight to your door, including 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. Oh, my Lord. Their selections are so good. All Butcher Box proteins are sourced from partners who meet strict animal welfare and sustainability standards. That means no antibiotics or added hormones ever. Whether you're feeding a growing family or trying to eat clean without the stress, or if you have a chef for a husband and he really likes,
high quality
fancy
meats.
say
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 times a week. Butcher Box offers curated or fully customizable plans that fit your schedule and your preferences. My Butcher Box got dropped off yesterday afternoon, and my UPS guy, he knocked on the door and waited for me to answer so that he could talk to me about how much he loves Butcher Box too.
Oh, cute.
It was really adorable. And as a certified B Corp, Butcher Box is committed to high standards, from how the animals are raised to how the team supports workers and reduces environmental impact. So you're really doing good by purchasing your proteins through Butcher Box. Plus, every box ships free always and includes member-only perks like recipe inspo, tips, and exclusive deals to help you make the most of every meal.
And right now, Butcher Box is offering our listeners $20 off their first box and free protein for a year. Go to butcherbox.com/gals to get this limited time offer and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/gals. And don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you. We're back.
Oh, we're back.
Like I said, I have the fan pick case, and as usual, it's a doozy. But like I sort of mentioned at the top, the fan picker is also close with the daughter of the victim. So, as always, we handle these cases with as much care as possible. And I want to do this justice. A lot of lives were destroyed in this event and the after effects, and it's just an all around really devastating and tragic story. And yeah, I'm gonna stick with the facts and only impart my opinion most of the time. Here we go. On September 4th, 2008, it was an ordinary Thursday morning in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it was shattered by an act of violence. Neal Sweeney, a prominent Tulsa businessman and former University of Tulsa football player, was fatally shot at his office. Sweeney, who was 63 years old at the time, was the president and chief operating officer of Retail Fuels Marketing, basically a petroleum company that provides gas to gas stations.
Okay.
So gas stations got to get their gas from somewhere, and he worked for a company that distributes the gas that goes to the gas stations.
Okay.
The incident occurred around 9:30 a.m. at his business, which was located at 3158 South 108th East Avenue. Witnesses told police that a man walked into the business and directly into an office area where he shot Sweeney in the head. The assailant acted as if he knew where he was going and did not threaten anyone else on site.
That is so fucking creepy.
Yeah, it was very clearly, I'm going for this person and this person only.
Else.
Very intentional.
Jesus Christ. How robotic.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, of course, we don't know the demeanor
or the demeanor.
But just
of
that
assailant.
On paper is.
It's very unsettling.
It's very unsettling. And yeah, if you even saw someone out of the corner of your eye, if you worked in the office, they know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to
question it.
Yeah.
Initial descriptions from the Tulsa police portrayed the assailant as a black male in his late teens to early 20s with a slender build and no facial hair, about 5 feet 10 inches tall. And at the time of the shooting, he was in casual dress, sunglasses, hooded shirt pulled up over his head, jeans, and white athletic shoes. He fled in a vehicle that was described as a white van with no side molding or side doors. So very nondescript white van as the getaway car.
God.
The investigation quickly gained momentum, and basically the only way that I could really approach this case in a way that was clear and concise and made sense was to just do it as like a timeline. So
chronological.
Yeah. So this is how things played out. So February 3rd, 2009, police recovered a van in the 3600 block of South Lakewood Avenue. So the killing happened on the morning of September
4th.
But the
that
van...
much time went by before like any discovery was made about anything?
That is correct. That's the shooting happened early September. The van was recovered in February.
That's
the
6
following
months.
February. Yeah. Okay, so they recover the van that matched the description of the getaway vehicle, and this van had been reported stolen in Muskogee, Oklahoma, which was about 50 miles from Tulsa, either on or right before the same day as Sweeney's murder.
Damn.
June.
And it was just like abandoned somewhere?
It just left on the street, I would imagine. It was just at the 3600 block of South Lakewood Avenue.
Wow.
So he's killed in September. They find the van in February, and then it's not until June of 2009 that they're able to identify or have at least a significant breakthrough. They were correct in identifying who the shooter was. So they identified Terrico Bethel. He was 23 years old at the time that he was apprehended, so he would have been 22 when the shooting happened. And he was accused of fatally shooting Neal Sweeney. Police announced that the homicide, which is like, why would this random 22-year-old kid walk into this business and shoot this 63-year-old man who he'd never met?
Like distribution business.
Right, exactly. So he was accused of fatally shooting Neal Sweeney. Police announced that the homicide was confirmed to be a contract killing. So there's your fucking answer.
I figured, given the topic.
Bethel had already been jailed since February 27th, 2009 on unrelated complaints. And so there's some indication that he'd been in and out of jail for like some petty offenses, some drug-related offenses.
Not violent.
Not violent. And so I think that he was just never on their radar because it's like he's just this random kid, you know? So him potentially being apprehended for other crimes after this happened, but them not having any connection to Sweeney's murder might have contributed to that gap in time between finding the van in February, which again was stolen. So if there was no evidence that he had stolen it, then they're not immediately going to go to him. So I think there was a lot of ongoing investigation, and then things just, I don't have all the details of exactly what led them to him, but they did end up identifying him.
I can see why things fell into place that way, but for his family, that would have been so incredibly frustrating.
Oh, all of this is devastating.
Someone goes into your dad's workplace, shoots him in the head, leaves, and then
disappears
nothing for 6 months.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Disappears for months. And then you find out that they actually were apprehended for a different crime. It would be, a lot of this would be really hard to
swallow,
to grapple with. Yeah. I mean, this is an unimaginable situation. So February 10th, 2010, a man named Alan Shields, 33 years old at the time, was named as a person of interest in a court filing related to Sweeney's killing. Shields had been arrested in connection with a separate incident in February of 2010, where he allegedly broke into a Tulsa home with what police described as a, quote, murder kit, which we'll get to. He faced multiple felony charges for that attack, including kidnapping, assault, burglary, and firearm possession.
Murder kit.
Yes.
We should do a whole episode on murder kits.
Listen. The probe into Sweeney's murder expanded to include more individuals, indicating a larger conspiracy. Because there's no way it's just on this kid.
No.
So, May 12th, 2010, prosecutors charged a man named Alonzo Cortez Johnson, 38 years old, and a man named Muhammad Aziz, 57 years old, with conspiring to commit murder, explicitly categorizing it as a murder for hire. May 31st, 2010, Fred Shields Jr., 36 years old, brother of Alan Shields, the kill kit guy, was charged with first-degree murder for his alleged role in recruiting a hitman. He was already in jail on a drug trafficking charge, and his brother Alan Shields had been charged with conspiracy to commit murder for allegedly helping facilitate payment for the killing. So what it sounds like is somebody connected with Alan to find someone to carry out this murder.
Mm-hmm.
Alan connected with his brother Fred, and they either knew or had some connection to Bethel and hired him to do this.
Well, it's hard to find a hitman.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Obviously, didn't work out for that one gal with the ex-boyfriend's girlfriend.
Oh, we'll get to it. So,
Okay.
now we have all of these alleged conspirators in custody, and things are getting real messy, and they get super fucking chaotic. June 22nd, 2010, Alan Shields, so the guy that we eventually confirm was essentially reached out to by the person at the top to find someone to carry all of this out.
Okay.
He was released after being apprehended and charged on a substantial $1.125 million bond with the condition that he be fitted with an electronic monitor. But he did return to jail in October of 2010 on six drug-related felony accounts. So he was still kind of in and out of jail while he was out on bond.
So he was doing all sorts of stuff.
Yes. So he goes back to jail in October, but he is released again.
Okay.
October 29th, 2010, Alan Shields enters into a plea negotiation that would grant him 10 years of probation and have him avoid prison time. This deal covered the conspiracy charge related to Sweeney's murder, as well as those drug charges, the felony drug charges, and assault charges that were, I believe, are connected with a portion of the story that we're going to get to.
Okay.
So the district attorney, Tim Harris, stated that this, quote, difficult negotiated deal required Shields to, quote, tell the truth at any trial or court proceeding where he is required to testify. So it's my understanding that he must have had significant information about the murder for hire conspiracy that would be very, very valuable at trial to come to this plea deal because, you know, he's already involved in a violent crime, and then he's released on bond, and he's under essentially house arrest, and then he's apprehended again for drug-related charges. Unless he had some really important information, I don't feel like they would have released him again and offered him this plea. D.A. Harris had called it an, quote, extraordinary case that called for an extraordinary decision. Now, fast forward to, that was October. He's in, he's out, snip, snap, snip, snap. Now it's April 5th, 2011.
And just to back up, Alan Shields is the guy who ordered the hit.
No.
And his brother.
Alan Shields was recruited to find a hitman and then worked with his brother. Nope, I haven't revealed who ordered it yet. Alan Shields was essentially hired by or consulted by an individual. To carry out the hit.
I thought we knew who ordered the hit.
I mean, I do, but I haven't revealed that yet.
Well, then we don't.
Alan allegedly worked with his brother, Fred, and
to secure the hitman.
They secured the hitman in young Bethel.
Okay, got it.
And so Alan has been in and out of, that's been confirmed. The police know this. Alan is in and out of jail, but he's conditionally released because he's going to testify.
Because he's going to sing.
Yep, in all of this pending trial.
Is his brother currently in custody too, or his brother was just sort of tangentially involved?
He ends up being charged. I don't know if they were in custody, if he was in custody at the same time.
Okay.
But we'll get to his charges. He's not really super relevant to the case outside of his assistance in hiring the gunman, basically.
Got it. Okay.
So April 5th, 2011, in a bizarre and tragic turn of events, Alan Shields, who by that time was 34 years old, shot himself after a 7-hour standoff with police.
My God, while he's out on bail for these two different things.
Mm-hmm. During the standoff, Shields held an 11-year-old girl hostage.
No.
The girl was released unharmed several hours before Shields shot himself, thank God. Police stated that this was, quote, not the first time Shields had taken this particular 11-year-old girl hostage. He had also held her mother hostage in a previous incident. In that earlier incident, police found what they described as a homicide kit, a kill kit. So that's what
another
the kill
kit.
No, that's the same one that they were referring to earlier.
Oh, okay.
The sources I found for this case did not give me details on what was specifically in that kit to determine that it was a homicide kit, but I can't imagine it was good.
Duct tape, knife.
Could have been anything.
Mm-hmm.
At the time of the standoff, Shields was, like we said, still on house arrest. He had his ankle monitor, and he was pending trial for the Sweeney murder and was supposed to be in court on the Monday of the standoff, but didn't show up to court. He was located in a home on the 500 block of North Utica, and this home, as far as I could gather from my research, was not his home, but belonged to this woman and her daughter. On the day of the
standoff or something.
Yes, that's what that hasn't explicitly been stated in the press. This woman and her child's identity are not released for their safety, thank God.
It doesn't really matter, but if they were close enough to be handily used as you know,
and there was
basically.
And there was previous, abuse or threats of violence against them. It is widely understood that he and the girl's mother were had been or were in some sort of tumultuous romantic relationship. So on the day of the standoff, he'd entered their home when the unnamed mother and child were not present, and they returned home while he was there, and she tried to flee with her child, but he wouldn't release her child.
Oh,
so
God.
She ran and called the police.
There's a dangerous man in my home.
Yes.
He has my daughter.
And then the standoff begins. And like I said, his relationship with them is not explicitly stated, but it's suspected that he had a romantic relationship with the mother.
I think statistically it's safe to say.
Well, I think it's very safe to say because he had also been a person of interest in the disappearance of his ex-girlfriend, Angie Tucker, who disappeared in 2007 and had prior allegations against Shields. So Angie had basically pressed charges against Alan Shields for rape and burglary, and she was scheduled to testify against him at trial for these charges a mere 2 weeks after she went missing.
No.
And Angie Tucker is still missing to this day, and there is a NamUs entry for her that I've listed in my sources. So please take a look at it and circulate it in your communities. But yeah, Angie has been missing since 2007.
Well, and I don't know what happened there.
I know. I don't even want to entertain that possibility, but it just seems very unlikely that she is still alive.
Oh my God.
Considering the circumstances of her disappearance. These are very serious, violent accusations and charges that were being brought against him. And it's very rare that sexual assault charges, rape charges even make it to trial. And she made it that far. So she must have had plenty of evidence against him. Mm-hmm. And she disappeared 2 weeks before she was going to trial against her ex.
Jesus Christ.
And this is the same man who now with a different woman had the police called on him where they found the homicide kit. And now he comes back into their house, holds her daughter hostage, releases her, and then by the end of the standoff, he took his own life. He shot himself. And And this
I saw a TikTok the other day. I'm sorry, that's a weird segue, but I saw a TikTok the other day, and this girl was like, so I'm a barista, and last Saturday, a man, and this is what he did.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that is so...
Yeah.
Anytime a man enters the scenario...
It's not great. My hackles are up.
My coat is raised.
Yes.
No.
So after the 11-year-old girl was released, gunshots were heard from within the home, and then he wasn't responding. So, police were able to enter the home, and they found Shields dead inside from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
That only sucks because he's not going to see any justice.
Right. Well, and not testify. Not only is he not going to see justice for his violent behavior,
his victims' families,
both in Angie's case and now this woman and her child, but he was also part of a murder for hire plot, and he won't be able. And his missing ex. And that's what I'm saying. And he was out because he had information to testify with, and now he's not able to testify. So things just got really messy and chaotic and out of hand in that situation really quickly. And it revealed that this is a person who was hired by whoever's at the top, who clearly had, some history of violence. And, they felt that this was the right person to talk to about finding a hitman, which I guess proved to be true because he did.
Yep.
And now Neal Sweeney is dead.
Great.
So, police also noted that Shields' suicide might give unsolved cases new hope because witnesses had previously been afraid to talk to detectives investigating them, fearing retaliation from Shields.
Okay.
So,
a little bit of a silver lining. Hopefully that panned out.
Yeah, I don't really necessarily take it in as a silver lining and more as like a punctuation note on the reality that this was a pretty dangerous individual and like was known to be dangerous.
Yeah.
And then that gives me pause about why the state felt it was in the best interest of community safety to have him released pending
basically
trial.
Double bonded.
Take the plea deal.
Double bonded, one of which was for a violent crime.
Sure. So, I feel like there had to have been an option for him to take the plea deal, but still have to be held pending trial. And then he could be sentenced, and then they can deal with whatever. But like, I don't know. He was clearly, he didn't show up to court. He was clearly freaking out about testifying. All of this goes down. I just feel like a lot of other lives were put in danger because of that decision. And that's not me saying whether or not it was the right decision. The justice system is messy.
We can hope that lessons were learned this because that was...
And thank God that mother and child were not, harmed, quote unquote, were not killed. But there was a history of violence with this woman. So he was allowed to be home to re-victimize her in his, moment of desperation. And that's just, that's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. It's unacceptable. And we know that our society does not take violence against women seriously. And these are Black women who are pressing these charges or filing these complaints or filing these claims. And they're much more often disregarded by the justice system.
He went straight back to her.
And he went right back to her, like to her home, to victimize her and her child. It just fucking breaks my heart. It's heartbreaking. So at this point, we already have known this, but I just held on to it for a dramatic effect. But the true motive behind Neal Sweeney's murder became clear with the testimony and confession of Muhammad Aziz, the 57-year-old, at that time, guy who was arrested as part of this conspiracy.
But so, he wasn't the guy who did the killing.
No, he was not. He was not. That's the young kid, Bethel. He was like 22 when he did it.
Okay.
So, but Mohammed had been arrested with all of those other dudes that I listed, like Fred and Alan and all these people that they had identified as persons of interest in connection to the conspiracy.
Could have had a motive to have this dude killed.
Correct. So January 30th, 2012, Muhammad Aziz, by 2012, he was 59 years old. He pleaded guilty to one count of soliciting the murder of Neal Sweeney. As part of a plea agreement, prosecutors agreed to dismiss charges of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder against him, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The prosecution recommended a 35-year prison sentence for Aziz on the soliciting count. The only count, or the soliciting count was the only thing that he actually went to trial for. And
that's the whole thing.
I know. Aziz, okay, so you're probably wondering why the fuck?
Yeah, why the fuck?
Now we'll know. So Aziz owned 3 stores that sold gas that was acquired from Neal Sweeney's company.
And so he owned a few gas stations.
He did. And so the motive stemmed from a business dispute wherein Sweeney had stopped selling gas to Aziz because Aziz wasn't paying for the gas that he was ordering. There were many missed payments to the point where Sweeney and the business, it's not Sweeney the individual, it's the company, filed a lawsuit against Aziz for outstanding payments.
It's gas.
On products that he received and sold at his gas stations.
Okay.
That's what happens when you don't pay. So at the end of the day, this whole event and the chain reaction of events in its wake is so fucking senseless. It's over unpaid bills, over money that he didn't want to pay. So he hired someone through some violent channels, it would appear, to murder this man in cold blood in his office.
How illogical is that? As if that was going to make your invoices go away,
right? Like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? It's not Sweeney, the person who is suing you. It's the business.
What?
It makes it's so stupid. And then that just pisses me off even more because it's like, it's so senseless because that
might be the worst part of this whole story.
Even the quote unquote solution you're floating here is not gonna go, even if you got away with it.
That's not how that works.
That's not how this works.
No, you'd still end up in some sort of claims court.
Yep. So Aziz enlisted the assistance of Alan Shields to find someone willing to carry out the murder, and that was how Tariq Bethel got wrapped up in all of this.
Okay.
During Tariq Bethel's trial on August 23rd, 2012, Muhammad Aziz testified confirming he had confessed to hiring him for the killing, but he stated, quote, "because I'm guilty," when he was asked why he admitted to hiring the murderer. So at least he sang.
Yeah, makes it easy.
Yeah, I mean, at least he did talk at trial. So, I mean, again, not a silver lining. It's just like, don't drag this out for this family and for the justice needed to be served here.
You already know.
You're done.
You're done.
He revealed that he paid $11,100 for the murder. He admitted to speaking with a man named Alonzo Johnson, who was identified at the top as a person of interest, Alan Shields, and Alan's brother Fred Shields leading up to the murder, though he never directly spoke to or with Tariq Bethel, the actual shooter.
That's kind of the point of a contract killing.
It is. It is. Alan Shields' testimony, which had already been documented, like they had his, testimony before trial that they were anticipating him then reiterating at trial for the record, but now he's dead. So they just were able to submit essentially his like police interview testimony in court. It was just read in court after his death. And that testimony corroborated that Aziz had asked him to find someone to kill Sweeney.
Cool.
A woman named Donna Coleman, who was an employee of Aziz, testified that she had heard Aziz repeatedly express his desire for Sweeney to be dead. She also recalled him asking her if she knew anyone who could, quote, ruin Sweeney's reputation.
This guy is so deluded about
he was clearly
how
like
business works.
yeah, and he was clearly fixated on this man is the reason for my financial trouble with my business. It's
I have
his
to take
fault.
him out.
Yes, it's like something just snaps and all logic goes out the window when the walls are closing in on you and you're losing everything. I'm not giving this man a pass by any stretch, but it's like
No, but there's
it's
some
the same-
psychological something
there
going
has
on.
to be. It's that same line of thinking as like a family annihilator, where it's like the patriarch of the family loses everything, their business goes bankrupt, blah blah blah, and so
My kids will be better off dead.
yeah, and so they shoot their whole family and then kill themselves. It's like, what on what fucking planet? There's no
I'm just
logic
not
to
in
that.
a place in my life where I want to live
An uncomfortable life.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's yes,
But it's so insane.
it's not good. So when she found out about Sweeney's death and before like Aziz had been apprehended, she quit her job.
She knew.
She was just terrified that he could have had something to do with it. Sorry,
Well,
there you go.
yeah. If he's like, oh, do you know anyone? How can I fuck this man's life? And then he's just shot in the middle of a work day in his office.
Yeah, I'd be quitting
That's
too.
crazy.
I mean, to be fair, I'd probably be quitting anyway because I don't want to work for some dude who's like freaking
It's not
out
easy
about.
to quit your job. It's
No,
not
I know,
something to be
I
taken
would.
lightly.
No,
Yeah.
not everybody's in a position to be able to do that. I know that every comment that I am making right now is steeped in privilege, and I'm not. And I'm not like giving Donna any shit. I really feel for her, and I'm glad she got out of there.
Got out of there.
When
yeah.
because also it's like you hear people blowing off steam and venting at work, and you don't necessarily take it seriously, and then suddenly someone that they've been blowing off steam about for however long is dead in cold blood. I would not want. I would want to get out of there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Donna is safe and that his employees are safe. Like, that's a very fucking scary situation.
Mm-hmm.
So despite all these complexities and delays, finally this went to trial and convictions were secured for those involved in Neal Sweeney's murder. On August 24th, 2012, a Tulsa County jury found Terrico Bethel guilty of murdering Neal Sweeney. He was sentenced to a life prison term without parole for the murder, plus a 10-year term for conspiracy to commit murder. September 21st, 2012, Fred Shields Jr., so Alan's brother, was convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder.
First degree murder.
Yeah, because he and Alan, I believe, were in like pretty much equal cahoots in finding and hiring with the money that Aziz had given them, hiring Bethel.
Are you going to get to how they hired Bethel?
No, I don't have that information.
That's what I'm curious. Like, so he was a young black man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they just...
Let me see, because I didn't find that. I read like 7 different articles about this and didn't find it. But let me see.
I'm just curious as to how they like. Obviously, they were looking for someone who
Was willing to, willing to
do it. May have been a little bit desperate for some easy cash. I don't know. Like, how do you? Can you just roll down the street and be like, "Hey, I heard you paint houses."
Right.
You know? I don't know, but I guess I don't know what the average willingness of just the general citizenship would. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, this quote from Aziz is really creepy. When the lion gets in the habit of drinking blood and eating meat, you have to find someone to kill him. I think he was saying that about Neal Sweeney. It's like, you owe him money.
Drinking blood and eating meat.
On Wednesday, Sweeney's business partner testified Aziz failed to pay for fuel deliveries and Sweeney had the pumps cut off. Aziz's testimony concurred, saying, quote, "Mr. Sweeney did it to me. He screwed me and didn't promise me 1 penny." So that's...
He's not a landlord.
Aziz
He's selling
testified,
you like
right?
commodities.
Yes. Aziz testified that's when he laid out a plan and spoke to Alan Shields about having Sweeney killed. Aziz said Alan Shields talked to his brother Fred. Aziz testified that Fred Shields set a $10,000 price for the murder and asked for money to bail the shooter out of jail. Aziz testified this was all planned between May and September of 2008 at his convenience store, and that his communication was all done through Alan Shields, so they knew each other through his business. After confirming that Neal Sweeney was to be murdered, Aziz did not know when the murder was going to take place until someone knocked on his window at the store and told him to, quote, watch the news. That man was later identified as Alonzo Johnson, who was also part of this plot. Aziz
Stop involving so many people.
So many people.
There's like 6 fucking different people involved in this murder plot so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Fred Shields was arrested on warrants. Shields didn't have Bethel's phone number, so he called his girlfriend and relayed directions to, quote, Rico's house for Johnson. So Fred knew Bethel somehow. I'm not sure exactly how, but it's that makes sense because like Alan was in cahoots with Aziz. Alan involves his brother. His brother knew Bethel from somewhere and just was like, this guy will probably do it. Like he needs the money. If you could promise me that I can get him 10 grand and then whatever bail money, if he gets picked up, he'll do it. And he's a kid. He was 22.
No, this is so fucking messy.
It's so fucking messy. So, yes. So Fred Shields Jr. convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Jurors imposed a life prison term without the possibility of parole and a $10,000 fine for the murder conviction. For the conspiracy charge, he received a life sentence with the possibility of parole and a $5,000 fine. December 12th, 2012, Alonzo Johnson, who was 41, was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder, receiving 2 life prison terms. The only punishment alternative for murder in this specific case was life without parole, but the jury did not exercise that option. Johnson was also fined $10,000 on the murder count. District Attorney Tim Harris declared that the verdicts in these 3 trials set a clear message, quote, this type of contract killing will not be tolerated in Tulsa County.
I would hope not.
But wait, there's more.
God damn it.
More than a decade after his conviction, Muhammad Aziz's case garnered renewed attention due to his early release from prison.
He's the guy that did the most shit.
Thank you.
What?
Girl, okay, this is my last bit, and I have thoughts, so let's get into it. May 14th, 2024, news broke that Muhammad Aziz, so this just happened last year.
Ugh.
Muhammad Aziz, the mastermind in the murder for hire, was set to be released from prison. He had served 11 years of a 32-year sentence.
It's all about you, dude.
I know. None of this.
He said, I'm guilty in court.
I want you to find someone to murder the guy who turned off my gas pumps because I wasn't paying his company. Let him out.
This is so stupid.
It's ridiculous. He had served 11 years of a 32-year sentence. The Oklahoma Department of Corrections explained that Aziz received significant credit for good behavior and for taking classes.
Hey, if I had nothing else to do, I'd be taking hella classes too.
Of course.
Good behavior after you asked several people to commit a murder for you.
And then they did.
Jesus Christ.
He killed Neal Sweeney.
He killed
in
Neal
my opinion,
Sweeney,
just as much as Bethel did.
Had a direct way of taking the lives of 4 other people who are going to spend the rest of their lives in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck this guy.
For every 4 months served, Aziz gained a year's worth of credit.
What?
Some months he received between 75 to 100 days of credit for just 1 month served. And in March of 2024, he was given 180 days of credit for 1 month for being so good.
I want this kind of reward system. What the fuck is this?
I would have graduated college if I had this kind of reward system.
For real.
Sheriff Vic Regalado expressed anger and disappointment over Aziz's early release, stating that Aziz, quote, hasn't shown any regret, any sorrow. Regalado emphasized that this outcome victimized the Sweeney family again and called for citizens to, quote, mobilize and start demanding more out of their legislators, their lawmakers, and policymakers regarding criminal justice reform. Now,
that's insane.
I rarely agree with a cop.
Well, one said cop is yelling for prison reform.
I don't know if that's even what he's yelling for. I rarely agree with a cop, and I don't even know if we necessarily agree for all of the same reasons, but this early release seems incredibly unjust. This is the man who plotted this entire senseless murder, and then the basically kid who got wrapped up in it and paid to pull the trigger had wildly different outcomes. Even if you're just looking at those two and not the other conspirators.
Yep.
And it just like, it doesn't sit right with me. And again, I'm not giving anyone involved in this a pass. I'm not saying that everybody should be released. I'm saying I don't think he should have been released. And I also recognize that justice can be messy and super subjective in what it looks like to each individual. But like the discrepancies and how justice is being carried out in this particular case is giving me major pause. And maybe that's because I see being the instigator, the mastermind, the lead conspirator,
the reason why any of this happened,
the motive, the connections, everything, ultimately the driving force behind a murder for hire of a guy who just turned off the gas pumps because you weren't paying for gas, because that's what the company does. It's not personal. It's business.
It's not personal.
Oh,
not
God,
personal.
I forgot about that. Yuck. Hate it. It's just like, I think that those two people, Aziz is just as responsible as whoever pulls the trigger, if not more so, because the trigger was only pulled because of him.
Dude.
And I know that people might not see it that way, and that's fine. Y'all are entitled to your own opinion, but that really, I can't imagine what Sweeney's family must have experienced when they got that announcement that he was going to be out. It just sucks. It's fucked up.
You also have that distance between the person whose fault all of this is and the person who actually does the dirty work.
Yeah, who actually pulled the trigger. And, you know, in my mind,
it's money and distance. That's it. Then they think they can sleep. They can sleep at night.
At the end of the day, Aziz is the one with the motive. He's the one who did the coordination. He initiated the connections. He paid the money to make this happen. I just have a hard time seeing like a 23-year-old kid that, again, Aziz never even met or spoke to intentionally because of this. That kid must have been in his own challenging situation or desperation for money to accept such a job. And I can't see him as more guilty than the person who hired him. Like, I just don't see it that way. I think that they are equally responsible. And Aziz is more so, in my opinion, responsible because he's the driving force behind this entire conspiracy.
And then you think about the fact that all of these people are just regular. One dude was a business owner. One dude was 22. Mm-hmm. Like, they're just regular gas station owner.
Yeah.
Imagine what the people who have 1,000,000 times more power and more money get the fuck away with.
Yep.
Especially with that money and distance.
100%.
I have nothing to do with this. I will never be caught for this.
The pretty, you know, for lack of a better word, like easy work of exploiting people that need money. You know, because like I said earlier, people don't just like wake up one day and go, yeah, I could shoot someone for a few $1,000s. Like, I have to imagine it takes ongoing shitty circumstances to be moved to that extreme, to accept a job like that.
I think people inherently are not inclined to be that cold.
No.
You don't have I just some
feel
sort
like,
of synaptical, you know, whatever. But
right. And that's what I mean when it's like there are different levels of people that are willing to engage in murder for hire work. Mm-hmm. And people like Bethel, in my opinion, those are preventable crimes, like many crimes that we discuss on the show, where like with community resources and support so that he didn't need to accept that, you know, $10,000 that was offered.
There was a different way out.
There was a different way, you know? So like this could have been prevented, I think, in different ways. But like at the end of the day, in my opinion, Aziz is primarily responsible. And I'm not cool with Alan or his behavior, but he's not even in the picture anymore. And I really, really hope that there is some justice and that we find his ex-girlfriend, Angie. Because, like, Aziz clearly had a connection to someone with, you know, violent a spotted criminal past, a violent history, who he was like, okay, you're the guy. You're capable of finding somebody who can get this job done. Mm-hmm. And he did, you know, through this network of people that was only assembled by Aziz for the purpose of taking out one of somebody that Aziz had business beef with. I mean, it's just, it's nuts.
And they didn't even ask, like, I mean, presumably, didn't even ask or care, like, why. Oh, did this man, like, assault a child? Or, like, you know, it's like, oh, you want him dead for a couple of grand? Yeah, I'll help you out.
I think there just comes a point in people's circumstances where the reason is not as compelling as the potential financial gain. And my heart breaks for anybody who is back to do a quarter where that level of desperation is even conceivable. And that doesn't make it okay. That does not mean that you are absolved of your responsibility for.
No, because you could also use that as an excuse to carry out some sort of emotional, psychological need on your behalf.
Exactly.
Which would also merit some examination.
Right. But yeah, so I just wanted to finish this out by saying that the death of Neal Sweeney was a profound loss. For everything I read about him, he sounds like a lovely man. He was more than just a businessman. He was a beloved father. He was described as a pillar of the community and a well-respected man with many accomplishments in his too short life. He played wingback for Tulsa University in 1965 and 66, ranking third nationally, this is football, as a pass receiver in his junior year. He was also a 6th-round pick in the NFL draft, playing a season for the Denver Broncos in 1967. And was inducted into the TU's Athletic Hall of Fame in 1996. He had a lot of, accomplishments, and he lived a pretty incredible life. And it was cut short because somebody was pissed that they owed him money. Hi, June. Oh my God.
I'm sorry she came home.
Oh, she's so cute, though. It's okay. My case is over.
Okay.
Is it your turn now, Junie?
Yeah, it is.
Say hi.
Junie, can you say cheers?
Cheers.
God, okay. Can we end on a positive note?
Yes, of course we can. But our hearts really do go out to the Sweeney family. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible tragedy.
That is.
Yes.
It's a worm.
That's a worm.
It's a terrible tragedy.
It's a terrible tragedy, June.
Well, thank you to Clara for your fan pick and your episode idea, because again, I am shocked that we haven't already covered this. And yeah, maybe there's much to be said about the distance in time when it relates to the sense of tragedy of certain situations. Because like all my shit was like thousands of murders, but it was in the 30s. So it was like.
Right. This was like not that long ago.
This was like a couple of years ago. So, yeah. Thank you, Clara. Thank you for giving us such an important case to cover. And check out that fucking Greenwood whiskey, because
check out the Greenwood whiskey and check out Angie Tucker's Namus page.
Yes.
And hopefully if someone knows something. So
hopefully we can bring Angie home.
I know. That's like one of the other devastating things about Alan's death is that I am pretty confident he's involved in Angie's disappearance. And, I want to believe that other people know something, but with him gone, it's going to be a lot harder to find her. So
Absolutely.
If anybody is able to mobilize around that and provide some information, please, 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 please do. Wawa?
We want some Wawa.
Okay, Junie needs her Wawa, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you so much for listening. And as always, if you want to listen to this episode ad-free and all of our episodes ad-free, join us on Encore.
Yes, please.
We have a great time over there.
Yee!
Yeah.
Yes, we
all right.
do.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Like what you see? Check out more episodes and become a member to unlock exclusive content.
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye.